Hey travelers, welcome to this week's episode of my podcast, Life's a Voyage. Today I'm going to be doing a culture compare and contrast with my friend Daniel. He's Icelandic and obviously I'm American, so we're just going to chat a little bit about our different cultures and kind of just chat and see how they compare and contrast. So Daniel, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yes, thank you. It's an honor. Honestly, it's an honor to be here. I'm super excited. So I'm Daniel, of course, and how old am I? 20. I'm 26. It's like you stop counting after 20, right? Or
I know,
21 in the
right?
US, right? Um, and I mean, I've had an amazing passion for traveling since I was young. I mean, when I was 3 years old, I grew up. I moved to Spain with my mom. We lived there for 1 year. She was like 24 or something, so I feel very old now, with no kids and all. But I moved a lot around the country. So I grew up both on like a small place with like 4 houses and 4 families, like not even a village, and then on a village, and then in a city, and then in the outskirts of the city in Iceland here in Reykjavik. So I mean, I've gotten like a lot of the taste what Iceland has to offer, but also I have a lot left. So I also used to live in New Zealand for 1 year when I was 18, 17, 18, and it was a hell of a year. Oh my God,
I
amazing!
can't
So many
imagine. I want to go there
stories,
so
and
bad.
yeah, New Zealand is absolutely. Oh my God, it's like one of my favorite places, of course. And it's so beautiful, like Iceland. Like every time I travel here in Iceland, actually, I always say this. The more I travel around, like even though I'm from here, I just fall deeper and deeper in love. It's so amazing.
Yes, I feel that.
So, yeah, I'm a coffee barista. Um, been working as a barista for 4 years. I have a super passion for food. I'm vegan. So I love cooking food and I love eating food as well. But
I
yeah,
think don't we all love to eat food?
exactly. So yeah, I think that sums me up, kind of.
Cool, cool. So where do you live now? I know you're in Iceland, but like where in Iceland are you at now?
Right now I live in Reykjavik and quite central, not in the downtown part, but I'm like it takes me. It's a small city, so it takes me like 20 minutes to walk to the center of the town.
Right. So for those
So
that don't know, Reykjavik is the capital of Iceland,
yeah,
and it
exactly.
is the largest city, right?
Yeah, I think it's like the only city that qualifies as a city, really.
And
But
in comparison, my city, Rochester, is about 250,000 people, and I think you live in a city that's only 300,000 people. So it's
no,
like
not even that. I mean,
almost the same size.
the whole country itself is 360,000 people.
Wow.
So the Reykjavik city, well, the Reykjavik area, it's like the city and also the kind of suburbs, which are their own cities, but it's like next to each other.
Right.
It's like around, I think it's like 200,000 right now.
Right. So we live in, like, I think Rochester might be even bigger than
Yeah,
your
pretty much.
city. That's so funny.
Yeah, the capital of Iceland.
The capital, and Rochester is like a small city for New York. It's so funny.
That is crazy though. That's awesome.
Yeah. So let's just start talking about our differences and similarities. I want to
I
know a
love that.
little bit more about Iceland. I
Awesome.
know you love it, and I know
Yeah.
I love it. But so you've always lived there, and you kind of moved around. What's the central like gist of Iceland? Like, what are the people like, and what is the culture there like? Just generally, what do you get from your country?
Um, so generally we are, mm, like as a culture, we are very used to like, oh, there's so many, so many things I can go here, but like first that pops in mind is like the respect for nature, the respect for the environment, because and like environmental hazards, because I mean not more than like 80 years ago or whatever, like 100 years ago, most of people were living in like small uh, well, like small houses,
Yes.
like made out of dirt and grass and stones, So like
Yeah.
it was like we were a super poor nation until we kind of figured out uh, fishing and a little bit stuff like economic wise, and until we got were an important part of like um, the Second World War, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So the U.S. Army and UK, the allied nations, they poured money into building roads and airport and stuff, and so many people got a job and stuff around that time. So that was pretty good for the economy, and we moved out of the dirt houses, kind of. But I mean, it's like there are people alive that were like kind of living in those situations, and back then you had to be so like respectful of the weather, like it's and also nature itself. We have volcanoes and shit. So sorry about my
Oh,
language.
you're fine. You're fine.
I'm fine. Okay.
Yeah.
I know many Americans. I mean, like official stuff. They want like no swearing, but it's kind of a little bit in my language. So I'm sorry. Okay.
No, you're
But
fine.
yeah, and yeah, thanks. So we had like, I mean, just around 100 years ago, it was like we had like a very cold winter, and there was also a volcanic eruption. So like, so much livestock died, and like so many people as well in the following year, and many people actually fled to Canada, I think. Like, so there's like a settlers of Icelanders over there. So it's like called like Small Iceland or something like that. So it's quite funny. But yeah, we have that was long.
No, you're fine. I think it's so interesting because one of the reasons why I'm so interested in Iceland is because of the extreme weather and because of the volcanoes and the glaciers and like the like fire and ice, like the land of fire and ice. Like that's so cool. Like to me, but that's like really like a determining factor of your lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now with like, technology and everything, like, I mean, our houses are always built to withstand like earthquakes up to a certain point. Like you can't get a building permit unless it is like supposed to stand after an earthquake up to a certain level and shit.
Right.
So, and there's like this like close to Reykjavik, like 50 kilometers maybe, which is like 35 miles or something. There is like been a lot of earthquakes, so there's like a magma chamber that is like filling. So it's like everyone is like, there could be an eruption there like next year or next 20 years, next 50 years, who knows? So it's like could be a big one, who knows? So you always live in that like there could be an earthquake, and there's always a possibility of a volcano going off like within an hour's drive.
Yeah, isn't there like 300 volcanoes or something, or maybe that's absurd, 30 volcanoes in Iceland? It's like a really large number.
I actually don't remember. It's probably easily looked up for, but there's tons of active areas, all around the middle, because
there's 130 volcanoes, and 30 of them are active. That's terrifying.
Exactly. Yeah, and that but that doesn't mean like it's a mountain that is active, because it's the magma is constantly on the move underground. So it's the whole area around the active volcano that can like suddenly open up a crater and erupt. But I know. So we have a lot of geothermal like hot springs and stuff. So we have a very active small little rock in the middle of Atlantic. But yeah, we as a culture are very aware of that, and because we also have like some very very bad storms and stuff like that. So in the winter it's always like you can expect expect like the weather to change like that, you know. So you always go out if you're going like like the one ring road around the country. Like over the winter, it's often very closed and almost off limits, unless sometimes I mean, if you're an experienced driver or so for tourists coming in the winter, it's like it's a possibility that you can't go around for like your whole week if you're here.
Yeah, and I think the ring road is so the ring road, for those of the listening that haven't done as much research about Iceland as I have, the ring road goes around the entire island of Iceland, and then it only takes about 13 hours to drive it, right? Like to drive the whole island.
Yeah, I mean, if you skip the westwards, like on the northwest part of the island, you like that's the ring road, but it doesn't go like up west, and also
Right.
some of the towns that go like on a peninsulas up there.
Right.
So it's like it covers kind of the around the whole island, kind of, yeah. But I think it was like just under 2,000 kilometers, so like 1,600 miles or whatever, 1,500 miles.
Yeah,
So like, yeah, you can.
I don't know the conversion rates at all. Like, they don't even teach us, like, the metric system. Like, I vaguely remember, like, learning the metric system, but I wish that we had it. And we have these stupid, like, miles.
I know. It's so weird.
It doesn't make any sense.
I know, right? It's like, oh, but it's like, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, you can easily drive it in 2 days, but there's so many. I mean, if your only interest is to drive in Iceland, you can do it in 2 days, you know. But
Right.
if you want to stop somewhere.
Yeah, then it takes much longer.
Yeah, if you want to take pictures anywhere, and if you want to go off the road and go like on some other roads, you know.
Right.
It will take like a good. I mean, I've been going around for a few times in my life, and I always stop at new places and discover new places, and even go to the same places every time. But it's like, 2 weeks is like amazing time. You can do it in 1 week by seeing most of the things, but 2 weeks you can like definitely enjoy so much. But you can also do it in 2 months, you know,
Right.
taking your time and like hitting every hot spring and bathing in every pool, you know, doing
That
all
sounds like a
the
dream.
shit. I know, right? But it'd be expensive.
Yes. So you grew up in Iceland. We were kind of talking about the metric system, but like, what do you guys learn in school about like American culture? Like, do you guys only learn like Icelandic history, and do you guys learn English in school? Because you have really good English, so I assume that you guys learn it in school.
Yes. So yeah, but the English part, yeah, I mean, especially nowadays, I don't remember like. I think you're usually around 9 years old or 10 years old when you start actually learning English in school. But before that age, many kids, especially nowadays, are watching like, you know, YouTube videos and like tons of stuff that is in English. So they pick it up much sooner. And I mean, because we're only a nation of 360,000 people. So like all of the movies and TV series and computer games and everything is in English with Icelandic subtitles, you know, and stuff like that. So, like before I started like studying English in school, I was already playing video games, so I learned a lot of like English words from just like, you know, video games and some movies. You're like, oh, you pick up a little bit, you know.
Right.
So
yeah.
we learn it quite fast, I would say. Especially nowadays when kids are like so much internet and YouTube that is like consuming it constantly, you know.
Yeah, they're just sucked in.
Yeah, they're just sucked in, you know, which is like, I mean, good for their English, but some kids are actually now preferring to speak in English.
Yeah.
Which is not quite good because we always pride ourselves in how great our language is and stuff like that. But anyways, no.
Yeah. And do you guys go to like university? Do you guys have like is secondary education? We call it secondary education. So I know like like Europe usually calls it university, but we also call it college here in America. Do you guys have like secondary education? Like, is it very common for people to go to like university like elsewhere or in Iceland?
It's super popular to go to university in like in some other European countries, like and especially like Denmark and Sweden. Then also in like some other, but mostly Denmark and Sweden. There's a lot of people who go there. I mean, we learn Danish as well in school.
Oh, okay.
Not as much as English though, but all the Scandinavian countries, they're like the languages is formed from the same original language, and Icelandic is like kind of that language. It's like almost the same. So we haven't really evolved for 1,000 years.
Language-wise.
Yeah, language-wise, and probably some other sections as well. But I mean, and university here as well. Like it's super common. Yeah, there's a lot of people who go to university, and compared to the U.S., it's super cheap.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I mean we have like the University of Iceland, which is like I think the government like funds it. So you only pay like registration fees and then you book kind of. So it's like.
Oh, so it's like nothing.
Yeah, I think it's like $1,000 a year or something. Like nothing for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
just for
then
reference, it was for RIT, like where I went, which was definitely like a very prestigious, or not prestigious, but like a very private, like high-paying college. We paid $50,000 a year. I didn't pay that, but like that's how much it cost to go to my college, was $50,000 a year.
That's crazy. Damn.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And then, but then you also have these like, it's like, what is it? Don't have the exact numbers, but like this. I don't think it's it's kind of a private one, but it's like the University of Reykjavik, and then you have other universities, of course. So the prices vary from like kind of a few $100 for a semester until like a few $1,000 a semester.
Right, but so nothing like American.
Nothing compared to America. No, definitely. And then in some of the European countries, you get like the education free, or even the government will grant you money to study stuff,
Yeah.
So that's why it's very popular for Icelanders to go somewhere else, like because for some things you actually can't get paid for it,
Right. That's
but
awesome.
it's not that much, but it's still better than paying, I don't know, like
$50,000.
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely.
And did you go to university?
No. So our school system is like that. We have like kindergarten, from 3 to the year until you turn the year when you turn 6. So like, and then you go to elementary school, you start on the year you turn 6, and I might be using the wrong terms, of course, but like, and then we do like a 10-year in that school.
Okay.
Then we go to what I would say college, because in New Zealand, it's like, that's the college. Up until you're 18, it's college. So we have that in Iceland. It used to be 4 years. So you used to be 20 when you graduated, kind of.
Okay.
From college, but now you have, they just reduced it to 19. So it's not 3 years, but it's packed with stuff. And then you have university, like for a bachelor's degree, it's like 3 years, and master's degree is actually 2 years.
Right.
Usually.
So, because we have like elementary, middle, high school, and usually you would leave high school at 18, and then you would go to university or college. Sometimes we call it college. do you get a high school degree, like a diploma, and then, or do you get like a college associate's degree when you graduate at 20?
When you graduate at 20, you get like a high school graduate.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
it's
That's
our high
interesting.
school. Yeah, but it's like uh, 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 forgot what I was gonna say.
That's so interesting though, because I feel like school structures are so different everywhere you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I think in Canada, they have like they call it like the 13th year or something like that. I could be completely wrong. But like so we graduate high school grade 12, and in Canada they have an extra year. But then like some countries you graduate at 18 and then you take a gap year, or it's just so interesting to know the differences between the different countries. It's always different.
in New Zealand they take the 13th year as well. So like you graduate high school after year 13. It's called.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least,
So maybe I
at
was
least
right
it was
with
like
that.
that. Yeah. But here in Iceland it's like, but I mean, it also depends. I mean, we graduate after, like when we were 20, but it was still like, you were still learning like more advanced stuff at the 20, so like, so you have kind of like, that's what people were saying, at least I don't know this, but you have like a more like layered foundation for many universities.
Right.
Than rather like compared to other countries, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because I didn't go to uni, but
Yeah, I'm sure it's similar to like here sometimes we have like technical training in high school where you can get like technical training in a more specific career. It's probably like kind of similar, like goes deeper into like a very specific type of material.
Yeah. You can choose some stuff like that, and then you also have we have very big like school like learning. Oh man, the words are like gone out of my mind. But like
how often do you speak English? Like, is this a lot of English for you?
Every day. Yeah. I'm working with people who don't speak a lot of Icelandic, and also get customers that don't speak Icelandic.
Right.
Then I have tons of friends everywhere around the world. So it's like, when I'm chatting and writing, and so.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm not using some words. But it's like, when you're starting to be like a mechanic and not the book things.
Right. Yeah.
So like
Trades
we have. Yeah, and they are quite popular here as well. So we have and also like to be a chef and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We have many highly trained chefs here in Iceland, so our food is very good.
Yes, actually, like my next point is food. Like,
Yeah.
so when we were going to Iceland and planning our trip, we were looking up like what food do we need to eat when we get there that's like different. And one of them was like fermented shark.
Ooh.
And I didn't eat it. I was like, I don't think I can do it. But like, talk to me about like some of your like signature foods over there, because you're vegan, so.
Yeah, I mean now I'm vegan, but I mean I've been for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a fermented shark.
Yeah, how is it?
I used to love that. It's like it smells worse than it tastes, really.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, it's a rotten shark.
Yeah.
Literally, like it's the old traditional way to do it was like when the fisherman would hunt a shark, fish a shark or whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
You like cut it to pieces, and then you had to like put it in like something container or whatever, and pee in it and bury it in the ground for like 9 months, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
To get all the poison out, because that type of shark that's common here is like, I think it's called the Greenland shark or something like that. and it doesn't poop, you know.
So it's toxic.
So yeah, so all the food that he digests and everything, all the toxins and everything he consumes, dissolve out of his body. So it goes into the meat and everything. So you have to get rid of all these toxins, you know. So they use the ammoniac or whatever you call it in human piss
Yeah.
to get rid of it, you know. But now I don't think they do that. Not quite sure exactly
It's a little
what
different
they do.
now.
But, yeah, but they let it ferment. They let it rot, kind of. So
Yeah.
when you're eating it, you're like, the texture is super weird. Oh my lord, it's like you can get some bits that are like it's not that bad, but sometimes you get like eating like I don't know, like a half melted tire. I don't know.
Oh my god. Like rubbery?
I don't know. It's like kind of like rubbery, but also
Ooh.
yeah, it's like chewy, rubbery, but it's also super soft. But then it doesn't want to it sticks together, and it's like sometimes I was like, yuck, what the hell am I eating? You know? But then sometimes you're like, it's not that bad, and it's like it used to be this like ultimate, you know, Viking challenge, like eating a shark and taking a shot of Black Death. Did you have that here?
No,
when you were
I
here?
didn't. No.
Oh, Black Death. Oh, it's like a super strong drink because, I mean, you know, like alcohol and beer was banned for so long,
Right.
and beer was like, I mean, of course, it was like everywhere, at least in America, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, beer wasn't allowed until.
We went through a small period of prohibition where we couldn't have alcohol back in like the 20s, like the 1920s, but it was only a couple years before they were like, yeah, JK, we really like alcohol.
Yeah, I know. It's not like people didn't consume it, you know.
Yeah.
But here in Iceland, like the beer was banned until like 1980 something. I think I'm saying correctly.
Dang.
Or 1970 something. So it was like only a few years ago. Like I might need to Google this later, but or now beer ban. It's like we were celebrating. It was like 1989.
Wow. That's like not that long ago at all.
I know. It was like just before I was born, kind of, you know, like 5 years before that. It's
yeah,
crazy.
but is that like 30 years ago?
Yeah, 30 years ago, yeah.
Because I was born in 96, so.
Yeah.
Wow, that is not long ago at all.
I know, 2 years ago, we were celebrating, like, the beer day, like, when it was finally allowed. Like, it was like 30 years since we started drinking beer again. But up until that point, it was only strong alcohol, you know, which is
only
super
alcohol.
weird. It's only strong alcohol, so that was Black Death. And
We
Black
did it.
Death is horrible.
We didn't have that, but we did go into the supermarkets and we bought beer, but it's only like 2%. And we were like, what is this? I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was like...
Not beer.
It wasn't flavorful like a real beer, because it was like...
So that's like, I mean, almost all of the sales for the non-alcoholic and low-alcoholic beer in Iceland is tourists. Like, they buy it in the supermarkets because we can only buy our alcohol in the government-owned stores.
Right. That's like Canada. Canada, you have to go to LCBO, which is like the Canadian Liquor Bureau or whatever. I don't know what it's called. And whenever we go to Canada, we'd be like, okay, we got to find an LCBO to like go grab some booze, you know? It's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, same here in Iceland. It's like you have to go to that store, and it's like the tax on alcohol is also a lot. So I mean, like a beer in the cheapest, absolute cheapest beer you can get in Iceland, like a small can of beer, is like, I think it's like just over $1 maybe per can.
Yeah, the ones in the supermarkets were like super cheap.
Yeah, no, yeah, but no, like the cheapest actual beer, like in the.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, but that's like the cheapest like shit that barely
Yeah.
nobody drinks.
I guess
It's like
yeah, we have those two. Like in Rochester, we have like Genesee Brewery, which is like cheap, shitty
mm,
beer,
yeah.
and those are pretty cheap. But you can't really buy just like one. But I guess they'd probably be like $1 per beer if you
Oh,
broke down the price.
okay, that's fair because in like some places in Europe you can buy like, oh man, you buy like like 2 liter beers for like 50 cents or something. You're like, oh
Oh,
man, that's
well,
nice.
maybe like Bud Light. I don't know. I'm not a big beer drinker.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But I mean, like a liter of vodka here in Iceland is like in the store, well, or 700 mils. It's like just between.
Right.
Well, do you guys use liter?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
But like not consistently. It's so messed up. It's so bad. But wait, going
That is
back to
super
the
funny.
alcohol thing was
Yeah.
I remember when I was doing research going to Iceland, people were telling us like buy your alcohol at the airport before you
Yeah.
leave the airport. But we didn't because we're not big drinkers, but
Oh.
when we went out to dinner, we got like a glass of wine and like a beer, and we felt like, so everyone was saying that the prices of eating food was going to be way higher than what we're used to at home because everyone thinks that Iceland's so expensive for some reason. But we found that it was like pretty much the same price as if like we went to like a nice restaurant at home. Like I think it like averaged out to like, usually when Adam and I go out to dinner like at a nice restaurant and tip, it's like $50-ish for the two of us. And like we felt like that was the same thing that we were paying in Iceland when we went out to eat. And I was like, wait, I thought this was supposed to be so pricey, but then it was like fine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I mean, but like, the cheapest meal you can get at any restaurant here in Iceland is like, without alcohol or anything like that. That is still around, you know, $10. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys don't have like fast food like we have. Like you guys had Subway.
Yeah.
But I don't remember seeing like McDonald's.
No, so in the crash in 2008,
Right.
just after that, soon after that, I think it was 2009. They closed down McDonald's, and because I mean they were importing a lot of things, and the U.S. dollar like kind of doubled, So like compared to the Icelandic krona, so everything they had like were importing and shit was like twice the amount.
Right.
So
So it wasn't
the
worth it.
no, but we have now like a place that's called Metro, and it's basically the Icelandic version of McDonald's. It's like
Oh.
so like a cheeseburger there is like I don't even know, it's like $6 or something.
That's
I
more
know.
expensive than McDonald's would be, though. Like McDonald's, you could get a burger, like what is it, a Big Mac? I don't eat McDonald's. I'm like the worst. I'm not like an average American that like drinks beer and McDonald's. But like I think you can get like a Big Mac for like $1 or $2.
Exactly, but a Big Mac here in Iceland, even if it was McDonald's, it would still be, $8 or whatever. No, maybe not
Wow.
$5, maybe around that.
That's crazy. Yeah, we didn't really see that much of a difference in food pricing, but maybe it was just we got lucky with where we went.
Yeah, I mean, like most, also what I know like now, like most burgers, they would be around 12 to $20, like depending on how fancy the restaurant is.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of average for us. I would say like maybe $15 for a good burger in Rochester, like not in New York City or anything like that. Like they could go
Yeah.
pretty pricey there. But yeah, okay. Sorry, we like talked about food for so long, but I love food. I'm here to talk about
I
food.
could go for an hour just about food.
Yeah.
Well, the quality of the food though, did you?
Oh
like,
yeah.
How was that? Did you?
Yes, the burger. So I got a burger. I'm a burger girl, but like
Yeah.
a good burger. And I felt like it was so good. It was like, I want to say Angus beef, but I think it was even better than that. Like, it could have been like, you guys don't have beef you don't have cows in Iceland, do you? You have.
Oh, we do.
You do?
We have a lot of
Okay, so then maybe it was like local cow meat.
Yeah, possibly.
And it was so good. And then I don't know if it was like the sauces they cooked it in or what, but it was amazing. And then the night that I had fish, I don't even remember what kind of fish it was. It might have been salmon. But it was so fresh. It was so fresh. I was like, wow, this is what it's like to live in the ocean, like literally.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We are. I mean, as a nation, we often pride ourselves in like how like the fish and seafood is like super, and also like I said, we have a lot of like educated chefs and educated like people. So the food we have is like very good quality, and also we have a lot of like regulations compared to like the US. We're more like the EU maybe in many things. That like you can't like all the ingredients, they have to meet certain standards, and like stuff like that. And so that is also kind of, I would say, a reason why stuff is a bit more expensive than people are more used to maybe anywhere else. But also the quality is great. I mean,
it was amazing.
I barely get shit food here. It's like, even on like cheap dodgy looking restaurants, you still get good food.
Yeah, no, I agree. The food was amazing, and we pretty much ate out every meal except for breakfast we like made at home.
Yeah.
And then we went to the grocery store and got like food to cook, which was obviously like still local food. Like we bought fish or meat at the grocery store, it was still from there, and it was amazing. The food was really good. So yeah, with COVID, how are you guys? So we were talking a little bit before we started filming, but you guys like have had a pretty easy time with COVID the whole time, but now you guys are at like 0 cases. And for anyone watching in the future, we're talking February of 2021. So it's almost been a year since the pandemic started.
Yeah.
And how you guys handled it pretty well, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, yes, we have been very lucky and very. I mean, we're a small nation, so we have like so kind of everyone knows everyone, kind of like it's like so, and we're very small, and I think, and of course we're an island, so it's like kind of easy to, close off and restrict.
Right.
But like with the, like how we dealt with everything, like the response was, I think, well, I mean, I've read some articles and stuff like that, but it was like we didn't make it political. It's just, especially compared to the U.S., it's it became such a heated political debate, like how to respond and what to do. But here it's like the experts were in front. It was like and then the government just kind of got advice from the experts and were like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's do this. And
Gosh,
so every
I'm
day,
so jealous.
yeah, every day we had like a live meeting in the beginning, like an info, like press meeting. So everyone was like listening or watching TV, and they were talking what's going on, stuff like that. So just like around a year ago it started here, and it's like very quickly everything closed off for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because nobody knew like what would happen.
Right.
Everyone was like, what's going on, and then I mean, even all the cafes and everything stopped, but we weren't really on a lockdown.
Right.
So, but every like business and restaurant except for the stores were open, kind of, and the pharmacies and shit like that.
Right.
And after that, like, we got the cases down, like to almost 0 days. So we had a really amazing summer. So everybody was traveling around Iceland, like so many locals were like, hey, I've never been to this place before, So that was pretty cool. And even some hotels on the countryside, they had like a busy summer for like 2 months, almost like it was a regular season. That was amazing,
That
it was
is
like,
so good.
it was so good. But then everything like died down again, because we had, I mean, like in the spring, like not, 10 people could not go out together. Like we had
Right.
that rule,
Mhm.
and of course, 2 meter rule, and we weren't really that big on masks around that time. It wasn't until like the second or the second big wave now in the autumn that
Right.
we had the masks on. But like in the summer, we had like in my hometown, it's what is it? It's like 600 people who live in the hometown. It's in the northwest, called Kvamstangi. It's where the seal center is. So keep that in mind. It's a really cool place to see seals.
It's on my list now.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But yeah, we had there's always like this summer town festival. So you had a 500 people limit at that time. So for every event, there had to be less than 500. And we had like concerts and like party 2 days in a row with 500 people. And then just like 2 weeks later, we were back down to 10. Like, it was like the summer was just ending and then boom, back to
Yeah.
10. And it's been like almost like that all winter. Like restrictions. So we had the masks and everything, and still people are like, I don't understand how people can be so confused with the masks. It's like it's like crazy. Working in customer service, you're like, oh man, you're like, why? I understand if people like, they're not used to it, but it's been like half a year with masks,
Yeah.
People should be getting it, and like they walk in with the masks, and then they come to the coffee like, can I please have? You're like, no, put it back on. Like, what the hell? I can hear you.
Oh my god, I get that so hard. Yeah, and here people are, talking about politics and like, we've had horrible cases. We've been the leader of cases pretty much in the world, which is just embarrassing, to be frank. And it got very political, and masks have become political. And I'm like, do you want to die? Like, I can't understand. And, politics here, as the whole world knows, because we're embarrassing, is like a laughing stock at this point, because it's so divided and so comical. It really is comical how our politics have become and have been presented to the entire world. But in such a small country like yours, like, what are the politics like? Like, do you guys have parties? Do you have like Democrats and Republicans, or what are your parties over there?
So we have like kind of a one big party that's kind of been governing Iceland for like since we got independence, really. It's called the Independence Party, So, and it's kind of, I'm really bad at talking about politics, like especially the terms, stuff like that. So it's like a right-wing party.
Okay.
And it's, I think in like 80%. So we have like, usually you have like 4 parties, like 4 big ones, but now we have like 9 or something, It's like,
Okay.
so many parties only have like 1 member or like 3 members in the parliament because it's so small.
Right.
Which benefits the good old Independence Party.
Right.
But I mean, I'm not. I would say I was a leftist, but here in Iceland, like, I mean, like people who know politics and study politics, they say like the Independence Party here in Iceland is like on American standards, like very in the middle or even a little bit to the left.
Like moderate to progressive, like kind of leaning left, yeah. But even though it's considered a conservative party in Iceland.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I mean, so they're more on like, free market, free stuff,
Healthcare, you guys have amazing healthcare. Right?
Yes, we have amazing healthcare, which is public, but the Independence Party wants to privatize it, which is not a good idea. So no,
No,
it's like
don't do that.
it won't solve anything, you know. So
Right.
but I mean, there's a lot of like issues like that. But yeah, we have usually had like 4 big parties, and the Independence Party has been like how would you say, in like the majority for like 95% of Iceland's independence, you know. So
Right. And you guys used to be part of the UK, right? And then now you're independent from them, or who?
no,
Who were you
so
guys?
so over the centuries,
Yeah.
we have been mostly under Norway and Denmark. Like
Oh, okay.
Swi-
Right. That
Swiss-
makes sense.
yeah, like switched around, kind of, like, and also independent, of course. I mean, we have I think, I'm not lying now, but, yeah, I think I'm not lying now, but I think we have the oldest parliament in the world. Like,
Oh, wow.
it was called like Alþingi, or like all thing, like. It was founded, I think, the year 1000,
Wow.
something like that. And yeah, I mean, we have some good history because we have always been like very big on writing down stuff that happens in books. So we have a lot of knowledge from our culture and from our past and stuff like that. And which is super great when you're learning. Like, that's what we study a lot in school. So
Right.
I mean, the democracy is very, very old and in us.
That's
But
awesome.
in 1930, you know, when the Second World War started, we were under Denmark.
Okay.
But when Germany took over Denmark, we kind of seized the opportunity, and
And split
we're like,
off.
hey, we're free, kind of. But we had been progressing to an independent state relief since 1918.
Oh, wow. So a while
So
you guys were on the cusp trying to get out.
yeah, kind of like in steps and stuff like that. But I mean, many people will say that, like, I mean, Denmark and stuff we were like, they were exploiting our resources. You know, they were, you know, like, I mean, like European countries have been doing for centuries. You know?
Yeah.
It's like in Africa, and you know, we're not. So they kind of did that same with us. And
Are
but
you
yeah,
guys considered the European Union, or are you just completely separate?
we're not in the European Union,
Okay.
but we're in the European Economic Association, I think it's called, something like that, which is like the European Union plus a few other countries. So we
Okay.
have a lot of like regulations and deals with trading stuff and commerce and shit like that.
Okay,
So
cool.
so a lot of the European Union stuff is also our reality, you know.
Right. That's
But
interesting.
and it's always a like kind of a big debate here in Iceland whether we should join the EU or even just take up the euro, the currency, because
Right.
we have the smallest independent currency in the world.
Really?
So
That's
yeah,
crazy. The
and it's
krona, right?
yeah, the Icelandic krona, the crown, and
Aw,
it's I mean yeah, it's like nice and independent, but
cute.
it's apparently according to many people it's so fluctuating, you know. It's like so unstable, and it affects a lot like our interests on, you know, loans and stuff like that. So our housing and everything, like, super expensive.
Right. And I always have to look up the translation of like Icelandic krona to a dollar, and it's always a little different. But what is it now? Like what is $1 or $10 in Icelandic krona?
It is. I was just looking this up before. So $10 is like yeah, 1,300 kronas.
1,300. So it's so funny because when you get your bill at the restaurant, or like when you're like booking something, it's like 80,000 krona or like something like
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, how much money am I spending? Or something
Yeah.
like that. Like when I
Yeah, I
was
was
booking
like-
the rental car, I was like, how much is it again? Like doing the conversion rates.
Yeah, it's like the rental car is like in the tens of thousands and sometimes like in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, fuck, that's
Yeah.
crazy amount. Because
But
it
then
used
I
to be
like
the dollar.
did the conversion and I was like, okay, wait, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's super funny. That's why like Icelanders often abroad they're like, like I can buy this burger for $15. That's crazy cheap. It's like it's
Yeah.
also the same here. We're like, oh, it's so cheap, but then like do the calculation. You're like, oh wait, it's not that cheap.
Yeah.
So
And then
we spend a lot.
one of the things that I noticed when I was there is that you guys basically have like a cashless society. Like, do people really use cash? Because
Yeah.
everywhere we went, a card was accepted. And before when we got there, I was like, oh, I don't know if we're going to need to exchange currency and like get kronas. And I looked it up and people were like, don't do it. Don't waste your time. Everywhere accepts card. And we never needed cash the whole time we were there.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Everyone accepts. We're not big on cash, but of course some people like prefer to use it. But especially compared to the U.S., which is like a cash nation. It's crazy. It's like,
So annoying.
And you even got a bill for the dollar. You're like, what? So, like our smallest bill is like $8, I think.
Oh, wow.
And it's not like, but we don't really use it that much. Everywhere is card. Everyone accepts it, and we mostly accept like every card. It's like
Yeah.
it's so easy. It's like, and then you get like often tourists, and they're like, hey, do you accept? Blah, blah, blah. You're like, probably just try it. Like, we accept everything.
Tap your
I think.
card.
Yeah, just tap your card. Like it works.
Love it.
But yeah, it's which I like. I love just having a card and like you can pay with it. Like it's a card and you can pay with it. I hate
Yeah.
being like, oh man, like how much money do I need to take out now, and like would it last my day, or like, oh man, I don't have any cash. Oh man, I gotta wait until tomorrow. Oh.
Yeah. It's so stupid. I personally am not a cash person. I don't see the point. I wanted to talk a little bit about like how is Iceland in terms of like one of the big debates in America, which shouldn't be a debate, is like equality, not only in racial issues, but in like sexuality and like gender identity as well. How does Iceland, like, is it very open to people of all genders, of all sexualities, of all races? Like, do you guys have any of that kind of tension over there?
For the most part, no, we don't really have like a lot of tension, but not like in let's say for the US, but we have, of course, there's always a percentage, a small percentage. Like there's always this, like, often like, I'm not gonna say old people, but like the old mindset of like, different is bad. So like, and people are scared of the unknown and stuff like that. So you kind of like, you understand where they're coming from, because like when they were growing up, there was only like white Icelandic people living in huts here. So,
Yeah.
And when the U.S. Army was here, like we even had some very like, it was called like, that was like, this could like a big case of like slut shaming, because historically that's it. It's called like the situation, which is when Icelandic girls were like hooking up with American soldiers. So the Icelandic men were like, a
they
bad
were
situation,
jealous?
Yeah, they're like, they're taking our girls, So it's like, but we had a base here, with NATO,
Right.
up until like 20 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I learned about that recently, that we had a base there.
Yeah.
but I don't think it's active anymore. They're not there
No, it's
anymore.
not. It's not. We have like 2 soldiers now, like, but they're doing like like Atlantic stuff. So they have
Right.
stationary here sometimes. But yeah, we went out of that deal. But I mean, back to your question.
Yeah.
It's actually like, and I just learned that, and most Icelandic people just learned that when the U.S. base was here, like 1940 up until 1980, like for the most part, uh, we had like a special deal, I think, kind of a government that I think I'm not saying this right, but no, I think I'm saying this right, that there were no like black people allowed.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, it's crazy, because we weren't really used to different ethnics,
Right.
and people didn't want to stir anything up, so
Mm-hmm.
like there were deals that only like white soldiers, it's like it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's unfortunately like to this day in America. I know that you've heard
Yeah.
about what's going on here, but like I feel like one of the things when it comes to traveling to new countries, and this is something I don't have to worry about as much because of the color of my skin, but as a woman traveling in other countries, you have to be aware of the situation you're going into and like
Yeah.
if people are open to you being there in the first place. So like maybe the color of my skin doesn't really make a difference when I travel, but if I'm a woman alone, is it safe to travel there? Like, am I gonna get kidnapped? Like that kind of thing. So a lot of my followers who are people of color, you know, one of their biggest questions when they go to travel is like, is it even safe for me to be there just because of the color of their skin, which is so annoying and unfortunate and horrible that we're still dealing with these problems, but it is something that comes up a lot.
Yeah, here in Iceland is like we pride ourselves in how open we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, 99.99% of us, So
Yeah.
like, and to, I mean, of course, both races and sexes and everything, like all races and sexes, but also like sexualities. One of our biggest festivals every year is the Reykjavik. Oh well, yeah, the Reykjavik Pride.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, I remember going to that since I was like 5 or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like it's just like showing support, and like, and you have these, like one of the best, one of the biggest, like, and the best singer in Iceland is like flaming gay. He's
I
like,
love it.
yeah, he's always like, he's always wearing these like what do you call it? Like glimmer, like
Like
oh, like sparkling suits,
yeah,
and it's
sequins.
yeah, it's like and he he's always like building these like epic like uh, wagons for the pride.
Right, yeah.
Like this one year was like a big swan, and like and it's like, I mean,
What's his
in
name? I want to look him up for later.
Paul Oscar.
Paul Oscar.
That's like his English name. His Icelandic name is Paul Oscar, so it's like kind of
Oh.
just the translation.
Right.
But he is amazing. He's so funny, and but yeah, he's flaming gay. It's like he acts super gay, and but he's been in the forefront of like this kind of like the gay pride and stuff like that for a long
Right.
time.
For the whole
But-
country, like being
Yeah.
one of like the bigger known people from Iceland and showing that like kind of setting
Yeah.
that standard for the country.
Yeah, I mean, and we had like a lesbian prime minister 10 years ago, and it wasn't that big a deal. I mean, we had also a woman president, like the first or the second. Well, so the first like leader of a country that is like voted, like
Oh right.
not like a queen or whatever.
Not
think it was, like,
appointed or whatever like
Appointed,
that.
yeah, like I think it was like first or the second, like democratically voted, leader and woman leader in the world. So we've always been like very, like open and stuff like that.
Right.
And nowadays it's like, like you can walk around downtown like whoever you are and like whoever you fancy, and like you can wear whatever you want, and most people are like,
I love that.
cool,
Yeah.
it's quite nice.
Ugh, I love that. I felt like the people were so nice. Like we were even like there was a time when we were like asking questions. We had no clue what we were doing, and we were like asking some random people at like a gas station, and they were just so nice to us. They were just like, "Yeah, you just do this," and we were like, "Okay, thank you." And they're like, "Yeah, have a good day." And I was like, "Oh, how sweet!" Like they weren't mean to me. Like usually, like some places you go, you know, people are just like not the nicest. But everyone was so nice when we were in Iceland.
Yeah, I mean, it also has to do with like, I mean, after the like 2008 crash,
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, we went through like many people like tons of bad stuff, but like it was especially bad here for like many different reasons that
Right.
I'm not really sure about. Like, I heard some stuff, but yeah,
Right.
it's like we had this crazy like we're a small nation, but we always have this like there's always this percentage of us that is like we are the best in the world, you know. So like
Right.
I mean we had like banks and the banksters that like uh, you know they like owned the place, you know, and
Right.
it's such
Yeah.
a so so much corruption and you know and so many people lost their homes and lost their you know everything.
Right.
But what rescued us was tourism.
Yeah.
It went from like what was it like 15 years ago? I think it was like maybe 200,000 tourists a year, maybe like that, and up to like what 2018 it was like 2.5 million
Yeah.
tourists a year. So it 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 was our biggest industry in Iceland,
Yeah.
which used to be fishing and aluminum because we have some aluminum factories which because our electricity is so cheap because we make it from freshwater dams and hot water as well.
Right.
So it's like super good to make electricity here and super cheap compared to many other countries.
Right. You guys are like one of the leaders in the world when it comes to um, efficiency, when it comes to like new ways to get energy, like using your hot springs. And I just watched something about how you guys convert energy using the geothermal, this and that.
Yeah,
And it's really cool. I think you guys are like on track to be like carbon zero or net zero or whatever. I could be wrong.
kinda. Well, I mean we have. I mean the way we produce our electricity, like all of it, is in like the hydro dams, like the hydro thing, you know,
Right.
and also the hot water and the steam like from the ground,
Right.
which is kind of used to like spin turbines to make electricity, and it's also our hot water. So all the hot water in our you know buildings and everything is like geothermal water,
Yeah. So
so
you
it's
don't have to
also
heat
very
it.
cheap.
Yeah.
So no, we don't have to heat the water, so it's like cheap to heat up our houses. So like we have good insulated houses and also good like heating systems and stuff like that.
So it says
Which is pretty cool.
Iceland aims to achieve carbon neutrality before 2040 and to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2030 under the
We can do
Paris
much
Agreement.
better, so much better. It's crazy.
Yeah. Which to me, like, that's amazing because we're very behind here in America. But
Yeah, I mean,
anyway.
luckily your president signed. Well, is going back into the Paris Agreement, so that's
Yes.
good.
Yeah,
Progress.
hopefully we'll get back on track. But talking about tourism again,
Yeah.
how do you feel about tourists? Like, are you one of the people that's like, oh, I hate tourists? Well, no, I already know you're not because now we're friends.
Yeah.
And I was a tourist.
Definitely.
But yeah, how do you guys feel about tourists?
Mostly, we welcome them because we know how much they mean to us, like economically wise, you know, and like, but also so many tourists are so nice because they're so amazed by the country and you know, and they respect it. But then in the last years, we had a lot of people come here that are either undereducated on like what you can do or what you can't do in Iceland, and also you get just these bad onions, like
Right.
those rotten apples, you say, like
Right, yeah.
of people. You get like people who just you know because on the countryside, you like they just uh, what do you call it? Like, do you call it defecating? Like
Mm.
pooping?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like people on like campements and stuff were like just stopping on people's
Oh,
properties
and just
and
like,
like yeah,
yeah.
just like anywhere, and it's like, oh, it's nature, but the farmer is like, no, it's my land. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing? Like,
can't just
what the
shit on
hell?
my lawn. Like,
Yeah, like if this was the U.S., I would be shooting you. Like
exactly. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
it's crazy. But also you get like people who are like had no idea about like driving in Iceland, and and a lot of, and I don't want to generalize here, but uh, they had some troubles with. I'm not sure which country, but like I think it was somewhere in Asia. They were like they got their driver lessons through online courses. And then they could come and hire a car and drive in Iceland in any condition. So yeah, so
What? You need to drive a car to get a license. That's
I know, right?
crazy.
I think it was something like that. It could be just rumors, but I'm pretty sure, like, because we had a lot of like accidents and people trying to drive on places that you're not supposed to be driving.
Right.
So like so when that happens, you're like, oh, like stupid tourists.
Yeah.
But
I
then
feel
again, they
like,
like generally we welcome them. It's,
yeah.
it's super nice to have them.
When I was there, I feel like if you get in a car accident in Iceland, it's your fault because the roads aren't busy and like maybe the weather, but like you shouldn't be driving if the weather's that bad, or like
Yeah,
um pull over if the weather is extreme out of nowhere. But I felt like there was no traffic, so it's like there's not a lot of people on the road. If you get into an accident, it's your fault.
yeah. Usually, yeah. It's and that is. I mean, here in Iceland, it's very much like kind of everything is your fault. Like
Right.
it's there's a lot of things like that, and it's like, oh man, I should have been more careful.
Right.
It's not like, hey, like I'm gonna sue you because this road is it has holes in them, and you're like,
Right.
here in Iceland, it's just like, oh fuck, not again.
Yeah, it's my fault. Like I did that.
Yeah,
Um, and then trying to wrap it up here, just so that I don't go super over time. We've already been talking for an hour, I think, which is awesome. I
it is
love
also.
talking about it.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
but what is the best spots in Iceland, or like what are the best hidden gems, or
Ooh.
um, kind of
So, um, first of all, like, you went to the Blue Lagoon. How did you like it?
the Blue Lagoon was nice. I mean, it's pretty, but
Yeah,
like honestly, I like the Secret Lagoon better
yeah,
because it was so much more natural. Okay, so like when
yeah,
we went to the Blue Lagoon, it's like almost like a pool. Like it just feels like you're in a pool.
yeah,
And that's pretty. Like it's like a pretty pool. But when we went to the Secret Lagoon, it was like rocks on the floor. And like
yeah,
you couldn't really see through the water that well, and it felt like way more like naturey.
yeah. It's and that's very true. I mean, and did you go to any other like hot springs or pools?
No, we didn't go into any of the natural ones because we were only there for 5 days. So we're like, let's just do the
Yeah,
ones that are like on the path.
yeah, yeah. Like one of my favorite. It's not a secret spot, but it's super cool. Like, it's the I think like if you Google like the hot spring river, you'll
Mhm.
find it, and it's so cool. It's literally what like. It's a hot spring river, so
Yep,
it's
I
like
found it.
yeah, it's like an hour outside of Reykjavik, something like that, and you have to hike for like half an hour, 40 minutes.
Oh, I
Yeah,
recognize this. I feel like I've seen it before.
yeah. It's like, I
Um,
mean, now it's getting super popular, but a few years ago it was like it wasn't that known in the tourist world,
mhm.
and it was so nice, like going there. And also in the winter, it's amazing to go there, because then you have, of course, less tourists, but like more
Right.
space for locals. But and also the best thing, like if you're coming to Iceland and you're going to this hot spring river, we have daylight all night as well. So if you can go
Oh, in the
there, like,
summer? Yeah, in the
yeah, in the
summer.
summer. I mean, yeah. So in the
Yeah.
summer, if you're there, you should go in the like around midnight because
Midnight sun, that's what they call it, right?
yeah, the midnight sun. Oh, it's amazing. But like anytime in like late June or anytime in July, early August, well July, you can go there at like 1 a.m. and there will be like almost no people, and if the weather is nice, it's like super calm, and you can bring a beer, you can bring drinks. You don't have to pay to get there. Just show some respect and don't like poop in it.
Yeah.
But
Seriously.
yeah, some of my favorite spots are yeah definitely some of the hot pools around Iceland that are like free to go to,
Yeah.
and also like some there's like this waterfall that is like it now it's getting super popular as well, but like it's like hidden inside a canyon.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go like you can't see it until you go like in. You follow the river like in a little canyon, and then it opens up, and you can see it.
Where's that
And
one?
it's exactly like half a kilometer next to a very famous waterfall that's called Seljalandsfoss.
Oh, okay. So no,
Yeah.
that was how we met. I
Yeah.
never explained that, but
Yeah. True.
we were literally there. Like we were at I
Yeah.
don't wait. How did you say it?
Seljalandsfoss.
Celia Lansfoss.
Yeah, exactly. You
That was
guys
bad.
were there when I messaged you on Instagram.
Yes,
Right?
we were literally there at the waterfall, and it is one of the most famous waterfalls because you can walk
Yeah.
behind it. And
Yeah.
you messaged me on Instagram, and you were like, "Hey, if you're there, you should go right next door. There's another
Yeah.
waterfall." And we went, and it was really, really cool. You go into like a little cave almost, and it's like
Yeah.
really pretty.
Then it opens up, and then even further along, there's like a similar place, but it's much difficult to get there. But this one is like right next to it, so you absolutely can't miss it. Like
Yeah.
for the world, it's so
And there was
amazing.
no one over there. Like
I know.
there
No one
there
goes
was
there.
like maybe 50 to 100 people at the big waterfall, and then you said go down the road, and I was like, hey, we
Yeah.
should just go. So we went down, and there was like another couple, and then my group of my friends that I went with, and that was it.
I know.
It was
It's
so cool.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy, and I'm always like, because I mean, obviously, like when you're saying like, what is my view to tourists? I mean, I love them, and
Yeah.
I love Iceland so much as well, and and I don't have any, travel agency or whatever, but
Right.
I love to sometimes in my free time I check the like most common spots in Iceland and check like recently posted pictures and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and then I just message people like, hey, if you want any tips or anything, like hit me up, I'm here. So I
Yeah.
just like message people. It's so cool. Like
Yeah,
I
and that
make
was how we
friends.
like started talking, and yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was so cool. I love that you do that because when I was there, I was like trying to see the northern lights, and you were like, "Oh, your best bet is like this day at this time. Like you should go somewhere super dark." And I was like, "Okay," and like we were like texting on Instagram while I was there. It was really cool. And next
Yeah,
time I go, like we'll have to get some coffee together, hang out.
definitely. I'll make you some good coffee.
Yeah, make me some
Uh,
good coffee.
yeah. But also we have in the West Fjords, wow, like many people just go the ring road and they skip the West
Mhm.
Fjords, but oh boy, oh the West Fjords are amazing. Like they're like
Yeah.
one of the oldest parts of Iceland,
Mhm.
and it's so beautiful. It's crazy.
I've
There's
seen
like this.
pictures, but it's kind of hard to get out there. Like you have to drive. There's not like like you have to use coordinates to get to some of the spots that I was like
Yeah,
looking
definitely.
at.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and some of the places like there's this awesome place called Heydalur. There's like just this old couple that's been living there for ages, and they built like a little like hot tub and a pool inside a garden house. No, Do you call it
Okay,
garden
okay.
house? It's like
A
a house.
greenhouse?
Greenhouse, yeah, yeah, greenhouse. And it's called Hay Dalur, so like Hay Valley or something like that.
Hey.
Yeah. Dalur, Dalur, Dalur,
Oh, okay, okay.
and
The secret greenhouse.
yeah, the secret greenhouse, and very close to it, there's this like really cool like small pool as well. Oh, I
Yeah.
have some great videos. It's on my plan to edit it and post it online. It's so cool. Like it's just like a summer day. It's me and a couple of friends of mine, and we're just sitting in there. And there's this family from oh shit, what is it called? Wait, like in Spain. Um, oh, it's like the different. You know, damn it. Ah, yeah, Basques. They're Basques. You know
Oh,
Basques
yeah, yeah,
people.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
and there was like a family from there in the pool as well, and we were just chatting for ages in the summer sun, and it was one of my favorite summer memories from that time. And you get like I spent a whole weekend around that area. It was like this country like festival party, and you go like skinny dipping at 6 a.m. Because the sun has been up already for like an hour at 6 a.m.
Right.
It's like 6 7 like oh, it was
Yeah,
so
that's something
crazy.
we didn't talk about, but Iceland is like right at the bottom of the like you guys are basically in the Arctic Circle. Like
Yeah,
you guys are like really like on the edge of the Arctic Circle. So in the summer you guys have like 24 hours of daylight, and then in the winter do you guys get periods where you don't have the sun at all?
no,
No,
um,
not that tall. Not that
no.
high up.
Well, no, no, not really. But there are some towns that don't because they're so close to a mountain. So the mountain blocks the sun for a few weeks per winter, but you still
Wow.
get daylight.
Right.
Um, but I mean, you have like here in Reykjavik, it's not as bad as up north in the country. It's like you get like 3 hours of sun in December, like
Does
it's like
everyone just go outside for those 3 hours?
now it's like you go to work, it's dark. You finish work, it's dark. You're like, oh man, you missed it. It's like, god damn it.
Well,
So
gotta wait another day to see the sun.
yeah, so we gotta take our vitamin D. Uh, like
Yeah,
especially
I take it
important in the
here
winter.
in Rochester. We don't. It's not obviously that extreme, but we get very short days. So I have to take vitamin D in the winter because
Yeah, I think everyone kind of have to because
yeah,
we as human race we're not spending as much time outside as we did.
yeah,
But in the summer, oh, it's amazing. I think we Icelanders are very up and down culture. Like
hmm
so we have the lows, like the winter. Uh, so we appreciate the sun. So
right,
I mean, it's just crazy in the summer. Like everybody, well, not everybody, but I love it so much.
yes,
And you get the sun for yeah, you can see it for a few days. You can see it like 24/7 up north. And
wow,
but otherwise it's like always daylight. So it's difficult to sleep in a tent for many tourists
right,
because
yeah.
it's always light. You're like, hey, where's the darkness? Like, sorry, it's coming in August. Yeah.
Love
But I
that.
love it, and that's the best thing also when you're traveling because then you can see, you can go sightseeing at 3 a.m.
Yes, that was one of the things. So I went in November because I really wanted to see the Northern
Yeah,
Lights. And at the time, I was like, oh, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity or whatever, which it's not. I'm going back.
yeah,
But I was like, I need to see the Northern Lights if I go to Iceland. And thankfully we did. But at the time, I wasn't thinking, well, like, I knew that we would only have, like, I think we had like 6 to 7 hours of daylight, which is not a lot to go sightseeing. But
yeah,
I was more eager to see the Northern Lights than to have more daylight. But next time we go, we want to go when we have like really long days. That
yes,
way, we could see more in the daylight.
yeah. I mean, Iceland is definitely, like you said, it's like at least a twice in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
It's like you
Once
have
you
to go
go,
in
you're hooked.
yeah, you have to experience like the summer, and then you have to experience the winter, because I mean it's like the darkness and like often the cold, but also with a chance of like horrible storms. It's
Right.
beautiful,
Yeah.
and
We
especially
didn't
if
have any snow when we went.
yeah, I mean, and this year has been crazy. It's like, I mean, we barely had any snow here in Reykjavik, but up north now, it's like, it's been like, you know, um, like many feet
Yeah.
in US standards, many feet of snow.
I can't
So
imagine.
it's
how much.
crazy. Like, did I send you some of the pictures the other day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like with the
Yeah,
house snowed in.
yeah.
Oh my
That like the
gosh.
houses get snowed in, and like neighbors have to like help them. I mean, that is
Hey,
happening
can you
like.
come shovel out my front door so I can get out?
Yeah, exactly. And then last year, no, well, just over a year ago, so end of 2019, you had like these, like my hometown. Well, I wasn't born there, but my stepdad is from there. So, and I have, my family lives, my mom lives there
Mm-hmm.
now and stuff like that. So, and I used to live there for a long time, so I call it my hometown. It's like a village of 600 people with a city
Right.
center place.
Mm-hmm.
It's, they went out of electricity for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, we have such a good electricity here in Iceland and like cheap, and it's like it shouldn't happen. So, but there's like everything that could go wrong went wrong because we had a massive storm,
Mm-hmm.
and it was life threatening, but thankfully no lives were lost. Well, animals. There were some horses and stuff that died because of
Right.
snow, but no human died. But it was
Right.
very it was a close call because some the hot water heating of houses didn't work in some places, and
Right.
and in some places they couldn't even call like for help,
Right.
so they didn't have any reception. So it was like,
That's
so
terrifying.
we're still like a poor uh, country, like in some areas I would say,
Right. Yeah,
like
you
that.
still have the country.
Yeah, like the country. Yeah, exactly, the countryside. But
Okay.
but like I'm often asked like what is the best like place? No, what's the best time to visit Iceland? And I often say from maybe 5th of May until 4th of May. So like a whole year. You should come here.
I love it. Okay, my camera is literally flashing at me telling me to stop recording. So
Yeah, mine died.
no problem. Okay, well, I will chat with you again soon, and thank you so much
Yes.
for chatting with me about all things
My
Iceland.
pleasure. And
Hey guys, if you made it this far, both of our cameras had died at this point. Thank you so much for listening if you are still, and you can catch Daniel on all platforms at The Lost Icelander. He's awesome. Highly suggest you go check him out. And also, let me know how you like this format. I know we had a couple technical difficulties with the Zoom stuff, but let me know if you don't mind. Like, how did this sound? How did you like watching it if you're watching it on YouTube? Let me know, and we'll continue doing stuff like this. And let me know how you liked the culture compare. It's something I'm really interested in, and I thought you guys would be too. So you can leave a review on Apple Podcast, and that would help me out a ton. And let me know in the comments below what you thought. Thanks, guys.